Good morning, girls. The convention for multiplying in algebra is that we don't write the times. So if you have something like 6, so if you've got something like 6 times b, then you'd write that as 6b. Oopsies, try that again, 6b. If we've got something like d times -3, well, it helps to know that the order that we multiply doesn't affect the answer. So we can write -3 times d, which is the same thing, just in a different order, and write that as -3d. Now, this really helps when you've got some more things to do. So if you've got p times a, and then we times that by 2, well, the convention is that the order doesn't matter, so we can put the number first, and then it's a good idea to put the letters in alphabetical order. That means 2 times a times p, which is the same thing as p times a times 2. Let's try another one and make it a little bit trickier. If we have 3a and we times that by 2, well, we know that 3a means there's times in there, so it means 3 times a. And remember, we're multiplying by 2, and the order doesn't matter, so I can write that as 3 times 2 times a. Okay, so what we do here is that we know that 3 times 2 we can write as just 6. And 6 times a we write as 6a. So what happens when we have more than one number? Well, we can just change the order until all the numbers are first and then all the letters in alphabetical order. So let's try something again. So let's have 3a and let's times that by 4. We can write that as 3 times a times 4, but we could also write it as 3 times 4 times a. 3 times 4 is actually 12, and 12 times a we write as just a, so 12a. Let's try another one. If we have 4d times 2c, we know that between the 4 and the d is a times, and between the 2 and the c is a times. So it's just a times, times, times problem. So we can write that as 4 times by 2 times by c, which comes before d in the alphabet, and then d last. So if we have more than one number and more than one letter, we can just change the order as long as it's all times, and then we can simplify. 4 times 2 is better off writing it as 8. We don't need to write the times c and the times d, although I did just then. We can just write 4cd, which means times and times. So for 8 times c times d, we're just writing it with the number first. Put the numbers together if you can, times c times d. You can follow the video again when you want to. Otherwise, you can do this exercise here, which is 11.05.